welcome back to the Crafting Sparrow Podcast. We are on episode 2. Just wanted to say welcome. Welcome back for those who watched the first episode about a month ago. And welcome to the new viewers. I've been having a wonderful weekend with the chilly weather, and I got my windows open, and I thought I'd just take this opportunity to share with you kind of an update of what I've made so far, whether it be knitting, crochet. I won't have any cross stitch today, but yeah, we'll have some finished objects, we'll have some works in progresses, and I have some acquisitions to show you. Some of it hasn't come in the mail yet, but I do have some to show you today and what I plan on using with those new yarns. So let's get started. The first finished object is my Marit cardigan. Here it is in all of its glory. Last time I podcast, I was just about to split and do purling for the color work. Which, by the way, purling for color work is not as bad as I thought it would be. I thought it was just as easy as knitting with color work, honestly. It just took some getting used to. You're holding your yarn in a different position. But yeah, it's actually not that bad as long as you know about color dominance and how to hold it in your hands. I think that any future big color work projects that I do, I would rather do separating from the sleeves and doing my color work flat instead of doing it all in the round and steeking, because this project has very, very bulky seams where I had to steek. So it has a steek on the armhole, and you have to sew your sleeve on there, and there's like a backing to it and stuff. I won't give too many details because it's a paid project from Kristen at Scandiwork. So yeah, I love this cardigan. It's very, very warm, especially here in the south. It's not quite cold enough to wear it. I took a little photo shoot out in my yard yesterday, and I was burning up by the time I got done. And so, but I can't wait till it gets really, really cold and I can wear this 100% wool cardigan and not be sweating after 5 minutes. Because it is 100% wool, it's knit pig pallets, and which the colors are, I believe it's turmeric for the yellow. Let me see what I wrote down. The main color, so like the background color, is pear heather, and the dark brown, these little tiny motifs, that is thicket. So yeah, Knit Pic's palette. It's a more cheap 100% wool yarn that Knit Pic sells. It's a wonderful value because I love it. I've also used it for this project right here. I'll talk a little bit about that later. But yeah, it's my Marit cardigan. I love it. I probably won't make another one just because it was such a big project. Took me about a month and a half to make it, which isn't as long as I thought it would take, honestly. But I also, again, didn't really like having to steek the armholes and then sewing down to reinforce it, and then sewing the sleeve into it again. It was a lot of sewing. I'd rather just knit and then pick up where the armholes are with my knitting needles. But yeah, I do really like this project. See what else I had to say about it. Yeah, I love the motifs that Kristen made. It has like little snowflakes. I picked one of the lighter yellow. Kind of doesn't show up very well with the background, but I was okay with that because I wanted it to be more subtle. But still, they're very beautiful. I don't know if you can see very well, but yeah, I love them. And it was actually really easy to do for as far as color work goes because there wasn't too many floats to carry on the back. There was only maybe one row on the row repeat where you had to catch your float. So it was very easy going color work. Yeah. Yep, so that's what I got to say about that. Here it is again in all of its glory. And this is bulky right here, but once you put it on, since I did make it really, really oversized, you can't really tell too much. It's only like certain ways if I like hold my arms you can tell. But I don't really mind. I know that I made it and it's special to me, and I don't think anybody's gonna really care when they look at it. Oh, and the details. I always forget to do this. So yeah, I told you about the yarn was Knit Picks palette, and then the pattern called for smaller needles. It was a 2.5 for the ribbing and a US 0. Oh, sorry, the other way around. US 2.5 for the body, and then it's 0 for the ribbing. But I mentioned in my last episode that I wanted it to be oversized, and also I did not have interchangeable needles for those sizes. I just have my Haya sharp, like sock needles, and I really wanted to be able to use interchangeables. I'm just really comfortable with those. So I bumped up the needle size and did a size large, so it would be oversized, but not too oversized with the larger needle size. Yeah, and I did have to do some alterations to it because of my needle change. When it got to the neck decreasing, I didn't do as many because I didn't want my neck to be so like super wide. And I knew that it would be a little bit wider than the pattern called for, but when I picked up for the neck stitches, I just picked up every other stitch instead of every stitch on the back, and just kind of made it work along the increases. And when you add stuff to the neck, it kind of cinches it in a bit and makes it more sturdy. So it worked out pretty well. Yeah. And if you want to see it on, I posted some really good pictures on my Instagram, the Crafting Sparrow. If you wanted to see it actually on me, it's kind of hot in here already, and I don't really have a setup to where I can stand up and show it to you. So if you want to see it on, I do have some really good pictures that I took yesterday on my Instagram. So there is that. And then my next finished objects are my, they're called the Brenda's, Brenda's Basic Toe-Up Socks. And these are really, really cool. I am still learning how to do socks still. I've made quite a few, but I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out what my stitch count is for my foot. I've only got one size needles in my 9-inch circulars, so I can't really alter my needle size unless I bought more of those. But what was cool about this one is that it was my first toe-up sock. All the other socks that I've done have been cuffed down. And I gotta say, I really liked toe-up. I liked that it kind of eliminated picking up the stitches for the heel. Instead, you just decrease a bunch after adding stitches. It was kind of weird with the heel turn though. Instead of doing your typical heel turn from cuff down, you did these wrap and turns, which was new to me. It definitely took some getting used to, but overall, I think that the wrap and turns weren't nearly as bad as having to pick up stitches for a typical cuff down. I think that made up for it, having to just decrease. And also the toe is just a lot more clean looking than your typical cuff down where you have to Kitchener stitch. But yeah, these are my Brenda's Basic Toe-Up Socks. It's just it's a free pattern on Ravelry. It has a 3x1 ribbing on the top of the foot and around the leg. And that is by Brenda Vanlerber, I guess is how you say her last name. I'm not sure, but she is on Ravelry, and this is a free pattern. Again the needles that I used was the 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circular by Chaigu. And the yarn was actually a knit crate yarn that I got forever ago, I switched up my Knit Crate subscription to get the sock crate instead of the usual regular crate. And I'm not really a big fan of this one. It's not bad because it's a sock. Like, it's not going to be like right up to my skin like a regular, like a sweater or a scarf or something. So I'm okay with it being like a sock yarn that's a bit rougher. But it's just, I don't know, to me it was a bit stiff. It wasn't as nice to work with in my hands. But I mean, it looks pretty. I think the colorway is called Cocoa. It's a tweedy yarn. I got the tag here. Well, I thought I had the tag. I think it's 100%. I think it has a nylon and wool in it. I'm not sure. The name of it is Uru Yarn by Knit Crate Unicorn Sock. I don't remember which month it was for, but yeah, the colorway is Hot Cocoa. So yeah, and again, they're just a little bit too big for me, because I still need to figure out what my like I said, my stitch count is. I did the smallest size that the pattern called for the sock size, and it's still just a little bit loose. I think maybe I'm just gonna have to get a smaller 9-inch circular than what I have, and just play around with it some more. So yeah, that's Brenda's basic toe-up socks. My other finished object, I did these. These were kind of like a break from my Marit cardigan. I like to have something that I can knit on in the car ride to work and back, and like maybe a little bit during lunch or something. Just a small project to work on, and that's what I was doing instead of the Marit cardigan. So those are my finished objects. My works in progress are really cool. I actually have my crochet works in progress. Last episode I mentioned I was going to make a garland for my office door at work that has like fall leaves on it. And I have done, I don't know how many so far. It's just a bunch of little leaves. And I just looked on Ravelry for free patterns of fall leaves crocheted. So there's an assortment of different patterns these came from. There's a little oak leaf, and the oak leaves, the little acorns, and there's another oak leaf pattern. They all look similar to me. But those came from, there was one specific pattern that I loved. Like, she or he did a really good job with the instructions on how to do the little acorns and the oak leaves, and they have two different size oak leaves. And that is Acorns and Oak Leaves. It's a free pattern by Jelly Designs on Ravelry. So I highly recommend that. They do a really good job explaining what you need to do, and they make a really good end product. Let's see if I can get all of these out. I'm just using like different assortments of yarn that I had in my stash that looked a little bit like fall colors. Let's see. I used, this one was one of the acorn colors I used for the acorn. This was actually the unicorn sock that I used for my Brenda's basic toe-up sock. Some leftovers that I had. And some dark browns. A lot of Knit Crate leftovers that I had. Like, this was a cashmere wool Knit Crate yarn, and this was a alpaca base from Knit Crate. This was actually my favorite yarn that I got from them. I made a Azor sweater out of it, and maybe I'll show that another episode in the future. So soft, so drapey. I really love this one. And a bunch of different yellows. Some yellows. This is actually the yellow from my Marit cardigan. There's a little bit left. And this was a yellow from Hobby Lobby. One of their, like, little, it has a bunch of different samples of colors in a pack. It's like wool. So there's those. Bunch of different colors. And I used a couple different size crochet hooks. Mostly the 3.25, 3.5, and I also used a 3.75 as well. Just small hook needles, and I'm gonna end up stringing them all on maybe a braided string or something with like different colors that I used for the leaves, or maybe like a just a black or something, and tie up all of these little leaves. This one's really pretty. This one was from the palette Oak Leaf. Oh, this one was a bit confusing. It was supposed to be a maple leaf, but I don't know. It didn't really turn out how I was expecting it, but I don't think one leaf out of all the other ones are going to show up like to stand out, you know. So, and I still have to block them all because they're really, really curly. Maybe I'll leave some unblocked and they can be like crunched up curly leaves on the floor. Some like lanceolate leaf shapes. I kind of want to see if I can get the camera to zoom in on these because they're really, really cute up close. You probably can't see all the details when you're looking at it from that far away. I have no idea how I'm going to do this. Let me see if I can get the camera to zoom in. There's that, and little tiny acorns. Such a simple construction too. It's not hard at all. It's just, I would say a beginner could do it as long as they're okay with looking at like really, really small strands of yarn. Yep. So I'm gonna string them all up and put them on my office door. It's been really fun because it's just like a really quick project that you can get done in like, ooh, let me get this camera back. There we go. It's a really quick project that you can get done in like 10 minutes per leaf. And again, it's one of those things that I'll bring with me in the car to work and do one or two on the way there, a couple on the way back, maybe one at lunch, and they just add up and string them together when you're done. So yeah, those have been really, really fun. My last works in progress I'm really, really excited about because it's actually one of my dear friends asked me to commission it. She has commissioned a couple of things for me in the past, and it's really nice working with somebody, figuring out what they like, what kind of yarn they want, and we settled this time on an oversized sweater that is going to be a bit bulky, so I threw some designs at her, and we settled on the Lodge sweater by Ozetta. Let me get it. I only have it's a bottom-up pattern, so I started on the bottom, and I just this morning split for the sleeves, and it is this beautiful gray tweedy yarn from, of course, Knit Picks. I used Knit Picks City Tweed, which is a 55% merino wool, 25% superfine alpaca, and 20% Donegal tweed, and it is just so delicious. Let's see if I can get this close up for you. Look at that. And it is the softest yarn, like woolly yarn, that I think I've ever used. And she picked the colorway Orca, which is this like steel gray with the tweeds has very light flecks, dark flecks over here, and it's so nice to work with, especially now that it's warmed up a bit, or not warmed up, it's cooled down over here in South Carolina. So yeah. And she decided that she didn't want the pattern actually calls for it to be a split hem on the body, and she didn't want that. So I said that's an easy fix. All I did was I just see where the ribbing doesn't Sorry, it is weird trying to get the the camera is inverted, so it's hard to show you guys what I'm trying to point at. Anyway, you see the ribbing down here. It's supposed to be split, but instead I just started in the round and still like followed where they said they wanted the ribbing to go. And it has a very thick like hemline, and I think it's going to be super cozy. It's been really nice taking a break after the Marit cardigan and making something that is just like, you just turn off your brain when you just throw on TV. I've been rewatching The Office again for I don't even know how many times. And just stockinette knitting this. And one color, no color work. I love color work, but one cardigan the size of that one is enough for quite a while. So yeah, I've been really enjoying working on this. Beautiful yarn and design. Very simple, very cozy. It's worsted weight yarn, so it's not going to take me very long. This is a week's worth of knitting. Not even. I think I got the yarn in like this past Tuesday, and I've just been working on this and those crochet leaves. The pattern did call for a 5mm, I think. Let me see what I wrote in my journal. Because I had to go down in hook size, or needle size. Yeah, it called for a US 8, and it didn't have two different needle sizes for the ribbing in the body. But it called for a US 8, and I swatched, and like I said in my last podcast, I don't swatch for in the round. Like, I hate it. But it's for somebody else, not for me, so I want to make sure that I get gauge and it fits right. But when I swatched for this with the US 8, it was weird. Like, my stitch count was a bit larger than what it called for, and my row gauge was a lot smaller than what it called for, and so I went down to a 4.5mm or US 7, and I got my stitch count right on, but my row was still like way off, and I figured I'm just gonna go with the 4.5mm because I figured it's better to have the stitch count that the pattern tells me to do, and have that right, and then just add more rows or less rows to accommodate for my gauge being off. So yeah, I don't know what was wrong about that. I don't know how my tension is going to change that drastically if my stitch count is right, but my row count is way off. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really do swatching that often, so maybe I just don't know enough about swatching to figure that out. I know the basics of it, but it's worked out so far. I don't know, I think that the drape is really nice with the 4.5mm. The fabric is very, like she was worried about, sometimes with crochet, you get fabric that's very see-through, like a granny stripe pattern or something. She didn't want that, so I made sure that at least with the 4.5mm, it wouldn't have any gaps in it. It's a really nice fabric how it is now, so I'm really pleased with that. Yeah, I don't think it's going to take me that much longer on that. I'll have quite a few of... I'll have that as a finished object next time, and hopefully the leaf garland. And I have a couple things I'm going to cast on after I get done with those. I'm really excited about, and I have some things, like I said earlier, I have some things I can actually show you with acquisitions and plans, but most of the yarn that I have ordered has not come in yet. But I'm going to talk about those now. So I'm really glad that I got the yarn that I got for my new sweater that I'm going to make after the lodge sweater, because when my friend told me she wanted the city tweed, she was like, I either want the orca or the toad colorway, and the orca, of course, is that steel gray, and then toad is this beautiful dark foresty green. And I knew that I was going to order the yarn that I wanted for my next sweater when I was going to order her yarn. So when I was picking it out, I was like, oh man, that Toad City tweed, that looks so pretty. So I went ahead and just ordered that for my sweater as well, and I'm so glad I did. When I started working on the lodge sweater, I was like, thank you for picking that instead of something else. It's a little bit pricier, but it's so worth it. So yeah, this is the Toad colorway in the same yarn. Beautiful, beautiful green. And I love those dark foresty greens. Same Donegal tweed flex, the light colors, a little bit of black and browns and stuff. So that's gonna be the main yarn for my sweater that I have planned. This is gonna be the Wednesday sweater by Petite Knits. And that is a sweater that uses a worsted weight yarn and a lace mohair. So I got some Aloft from Knit Picks. This is the colorway Silver, I think. Yeah, the colorway Silver. So I'm gonna pair. I don't know how it's gonna turn out. I haven't tested a swatch or anything yet. I know they're very drastically different colors. But I think that they're going to go really well just because it's tweed and there's already different, very opposing colors inside the city tweed. I'm really excited to see how these blend together. I hope it's not bad. Because I don't want to have to wait on another shipment of mohair. I just want to get a cast on now. So yeah, so the Silver and the Toad, and it's going to make the Wednesday sweater by Petite Knits, and it's going to be this really big, oversized, it's very similar to the Lodge sweater. It has a hem. I'm going to do the hem on mine, or sorry, a split hem, and it has a turtleneck on it, and it's going to be so big and cozy. I want to wear it now already. So I've got those planned, and then I also have in the mail, headed here now, both of them are, I bought some Knit Picks Stroll in the colorway Jackrabbit Heather. It's a very classic brown with heather in it. So that one is going to be for my scarf that I plan on designing with cable work. I still need to figure out what my cabling is going to look like. I have some ideas with some leaf motifs, and I'm really excited to figure that out. I just feel like I need to have the yarn in my hand first before I start making solid plans for what the cable work is going to look like. So yeah, I've actually ordered that before I ordered the city tweed and mohair shipment, but I'm not sure what's going on with the mail, but it's taking forever. That's alright though, because I had things to end on anyway. So yeah, we'll have that coming in the mail. I'll be able to show you guys that next time. And then also, We Are Knitters, the brand We Are Knitters, was having a huge sale on their yarn because they hit their 10-year birthday, and I couldn't resist. I was looking at their website and I saw that they were having that sale, and I love Pima cotton. So I ordered some Pima cotton from them in the colorway Copper, which I'm a huge fan of. I love anything with that rusty orange color. And I'm probably going to end up making a cardigan out of that as well. I was really thinking of making a cardigan from allaboutami. She is a crochet and knitted designer. I follow her on Instagram. She does beautiful work. I think actually my first garment was I think it's the Rosewood or Rosebud cardigan. It's a crochet cardigan. I think that there's actually a knitted version of it as well. But I did the crochet because I didn't know how to knit yet. And her patterns, she has a free version of some of them that's on her website, and you can also pay for an ad-free PDF for all of her patterns, and she's really, really good at just making patterns, and they're all super cute. I was thinking about doing a knitted cardigan from her. She's got quite a few, but the yarn I ordered is a sports weight, I believe. And I think the only certain number of her cardigans are sports weight. It's like, I think the downtown cardigan, or maybe, I don't know. I'll have to look. They're all beautiful, so it's just whichever one's the sports weight one I'm gonna do, I think. I'm still probably gonna look around for some other ones on Ravelry. But yeah, those are my future plans for after I finish what I'm on now. I did not make any progress on the cross stitch this time. I didn't do any on my scrappy blanket. I've been so involved with these. So yeah, no progress on those this time. Oh, and I wanted to show you guys one of my previous makes. This was my first project that I used with Knit Picks palette, and it's the reason why I picked Knit Picks palette for my Marit cardigan, because I knew it steeked really well. This is my favorite shawl that I've ever made. I wear it all the time, just over my shoulders or whatever. It is a Fiber Tales Woodlark shawl. Isn't that just so pretty? I love looking at it every time. It's really cool. It's a shawl that's done in the round, and then you steek down the middle and you reinforce it. I did a crochet. I crocheted it down. I don't know. I honestly don't even remember how I did it. This was like beginning of the year. You crochet the steeked edge all the way down, so it's nice and secure. It was kind of nerve-wracking the first time, because again, it was my first steek project, so I didn't really know how secure all the things I was doing was. I was really scared that the stitches were going to be dropped, but I have worn this thing, like I said, all the time. I throw it on the back of my chair, and my back's on it and aggravating the stitches like constantly, and I have not had a single stitch like fall through. So, and also I think that speaks for Knit Picks palette, because the stitch definition is still so gorgeous, even after wearing it so many times. And let me get a nice little zoom in of this for you guys. So pretty. And look at the stitch definition. I mean, I think I finished this, I think it was February. I'm not even sure. It's been a while, and it's lasted this long. I don't know. It was beginning of the year. Yeah, and I did the dark green, because I don't know if you can tell, I love like dark jewel tones, dark greens, dark oranges, and neutral colors. This is perfect, right up my alley. The neutral color is Oregon Trail or something like that. It's really cool, actually. It's like a plain neutral color. I don't even know what color to call that, but it has like almost rainbowy tones in it. See, it's almost got like blues, and I don't even know. It's just so unique, and I don't know, it's just so interesting to me. Anyway, gawking over yarn that I've had for ages. So yeah, this is really nice to I like to throw it over like this, and then wrap it over like that. Really show off the color work when I can. And I was telling my husband the other day that when I first started knitting and I saw shawls, I was like, I'm never gonna wear my shawl like an actual shawl. I'm probably just gonna wear them as a scarf. And now look at me, I'm embracing the full shawl effect. Like, I always thought it looked very like old lady-ish to wear shawls like this, but now I'm like, oh my god, I can pull this off. It's very warm though. It was nice during the late winter seasons when it was like really kind of cold, but I was so desperate for fresh air in my house that I opened up the windows anyway, and I was working from home back then, so I would just wrap up in my little woodlark shawl and work on my computer and have the windows open. But yeah, I love the shawl. But yeah, I think that's it for all my knitting stuff. Life stuff. Oh, I started reading again. I picked up finally Six of Crows on my Kindle. I started reading that the other day, and it's pretty good so far. I mean, I'm only like 2 chapters in, but I've been feeling that reading itch again, so I just went ahead and just dove in and just started another series. I was reading a different one. I can't even remember the name of it. It was really good, and then, sometimes you just don't want to read anymore, so you just stop reading. And at that point, I was like, I'd rather just start something new. So yeah, I've been reading Six of Crows, and I'm excited to read this Grisha universe stuff and watch the Netflix show Shadow and Bone. I like reading things and then watching the show first, because then I can nerd out and say, oh, that didn't happen in the books, or whatever. I'm that person. Yeah. So I've been reading that, and just enjoying the fresh air outside, knitting when I can, outdoors, watching The Office again. I just finished Jane the Virgin, which it's not usually my type of show, the romance drama and stuff, but that show is just so goofy and good. It's just one of those happy-go-lucky shows that you can just throw on and listen to them have drama. But yeah, I finished that and threw The Office back on because I didn't know what else to watch. I have so many recommendations, but my mind's just like, let's watch something comforting that you know exactly what's going to happen at all times, and you can recite every line that is said. But anyway, that's it for today. I'm so happy with all my goodies. I'm ready for Halloween. I have Halloween lights up in my house. I have pumpkins everywhere. Anything fall, you name it. Yeah, I need to get all these Hot Wheels off of me. Oh God, I'm tearing down my Halloween decorations. Anyway, so thank you for watching. I really appreciate anybody that stuck around this whole time. I know I'm just rambling on, but that's what this is for, to just speak in the void about what I've been working on. If anybody's interested, they can watch. If you are interested in my work in between podcast episodes, I have an Instagram, as I mentioned. It's the Crafting Sparrow. I post on there quite a bit as far as like stories go. I'm still trying to figure out my, I guess, aesthetic as far as like the actual Instagram posts go. I got a camera last Christmas that I'm still learning my way around, and trying to get good, authentic pictures of my finished works. And it's definitely a task. I didn't realize how much mental energy it would take to take my object somewhere where the lighting is good, it's aesthetically pleasing, and getting a good picture of it. It's very time consuming, but I'm trying. And now that it's not as humid as it was for the past few months here, I can actually bring my camera outside without the lens immediately fogging up. So I'm hoping to get a lot more pictures of my finished objects, and I'll be posting it there on my Instagram. I have a Ravelry, but it's not for like a community thing. It's more just buy patterns. So yeah, if you're wanting to look at things that I'm working on like in progress, then you can follow me there. Other than that, I'm planning on trying to do these at least once a month, but it's more on whether I have finished something, so that I have at least one finished object or maybe a couple works in progress. Yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the weather as much as I am, being able to wear your woolly things, or if you don't have woolly things, at least going outside and just enjoying the fresh air. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.